Happy Friday, and as per usual, I'm Johanna Sundlo, and this is the rundown of things this week, or things, topics that I'm engaging with, articles that I read, and a short just summary of the article and also my perspectives on the article as well. This is not everything that is happening within the AI space, but it's a condensed version that I think is impactful for anyone who's a leader working in HR or leading a company as well. So summary, but let's get to it as well. So first one is a study from IBM, the race for ROI, that shows that 2/3, 66% to be more specific, say that AI has already driven significant productivity gains. And 41% expect a return on their investment, their AI investment that is, within a year. And the gap between large companies and SMEs, small, medium enterprises, is widening fast as well, which is a bit worrying in all honesty. But the study then covers 3,500 senior business leaders across 10 countries. And it's highlighting that organizations aren't just automating tasks, they're redesigning business models and decision-making processes around AI. And it's worthwhile reading the full piece, and I'll link it below as well. And if you're reading this on Full Stack HR, you have it already linked. But why does this matter for HR or for anyone who's a leader then? The points, or this points to a structural shift where productivity is no longer just about headcount, but the interaction between human AI system. And the challenge for us is to translate AI productivity into then redesigning roles, smarter learning pathways, and measurable impact on performance. And a lot of firms, they still run AI as pilots in silos, and the team over there, they are testing. But the next way will be about scaling adoption and redefining what value creation actually looks like. And those who build strategies, or people strategies specifically around that, will see true ROI from that point of view. That's my true belief. I think that's a game changer for a lot of organizations that are now building AI stuff. One of the companies that are doing this is Ernst Young. And Ernst Young they've started rolling out an internal AI tools that gives employees a personalized view of how their jobs are changing and what's likely to be automated, where their skills still add value, and what capabilities they need to add next. And I think Ernst Young's approach, if this is true then, which I think it is, at least according to the sources, I think Ernst Young's approach here stands out because it connects strategy with learning in a tangible way as well. And they're not just talking about this AI readiness overall, they're mapping specifically how each role is transforming and what also employees can do to stay relevant. And I think that's crucial as well in this ever-changing landscape. And around half of Ernst Young's 4,600 global employees, meaning that it's over 200,000 employees here, have engaged with this bot that they built, or I think it's a bot at least. And all new recruits take the training, or it's maybe not the bot then, wrong, my fault here. It's a training that you take, or maybe an interaction, or anyone in the Ernst Young, please enlighten us here. But they take this process and they do it as part of their onboarding process. A lot of people at Ernst Young have undergone this thing. Let's just call it a thing. But why does this matter for us? Well, you might think I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I've seen this fail 100 times, where most HR teams and most leadership teams as well, we treat AI literacy as a campaign, something that you do and then you don't do it. But this is not a campaign, this is an operating model. And we need to internalize that and shift our mindset around this as well. So instead, we just usually then buy licenses, we book a few sessions in regards to learning, and then we call that transformation. It's not transformation. And I hope, and I believe as well, that Ernst Young here is pairing this solid approach up with solid learning initiatives and plans around this as well. Because it's one thing to say, oh, you need all of these skills to be relevant and to stay relevant as well. But it's another thing to say, this is how you add the skills that you're lacking. This is how you add the competence that you're lacking. And we talked about that briefly last week, and where this paradox pops out, where companies are asking for AI competencies and people with strong AI skills, but yet are reluctant to train for that competency as well. And I see that truly as a paradox, where on the other hand, we're doing stuff, on the other hand, we don't do stuff as well. And then we have AI and productivity at scale from Citigroup. And the interesting part here is that in their Q3 earnings, Citigroup reported that more than 1 million automated code reviews happened, and 7 million users of its 2 enterprise generative AI tools year to date, roughly 3 times than the previous quarter. So what they're saying here in their quarterly report is that they use AI a lot. And I understand there's a value to saying that as well in a report, so you should always take it with a grain of salt, but still it's in their report. Hence, I think that they deem this to be important. And the CEO, Jane Fraser, she reiterated that these tools are freeing up around 100,000, let's just say that again, 100,000 developer hours every week. And once again, I'm not sure if this is true or not. I think it is, just because they put it in the report. It doesn't mean it's true, of course, but I think there's something to it, right? They're obviously doing something right as well. And I would be super curious to know more about Citigroup's overall thinking around this as well. How do they train their people? But because if this is the numbers that they see, well, once again, you can obviously attribute this back to some initiatives that they've done in the past as well. But super concrete example of what AI productivity looks if it moves beyond the pilots that we talked about just. And these gains, I believe as well that they're not coming from just, simple pilots or initiatives. I think that they are coming from redesigning workflows, rethinking roles, and value creation, truly value creation with AI front and center. And once again, it raises a whole bunch of questions. How do you measure these capabilities, the skills, and the performance as well, when a significant share of the work is done by AI? And there will be a lot of questions in this update, and more on that later, because I have a lot of questions for you all. I have a lot of questions myself as well, so we'll see where we land with all of this. But I believe that those who dare to ask themselves these questions and those who start to build their people strategies around questions like this, not just tools, will be better off. So I'm also comfortable sitting with the question. I think that's the right thing. And speaking of questions, and also speaking of things that influences the world of HR, recruiting in AI. It's a hot topic. It's a lot of talk about it. And there was a new survey done just recently where half of hiring managers now use AI to screen candidates as well. And 7 out of 10 candidates themselves use AI to write applications and also to prep for job interviews. The study is based on approximately 1,000 American job seekers and 500 HR managers / leaders. And it's easy to think that, it's horrible. Candidates are now using AI to present them in a better way. But in all honesty, the hiring process was never perfect. But this changes, I think, at least the game completely. And recruiters need to rethink how they're evaluating authenticity, while then candidates are optimizing prompts to get past automated filters. It's like 2 AIs playing chess and neither side realizing it. I've seen and I've heard a lot of examples as well where people go back to in-person interviews to circumvent the use of AI in interviews. I can't help to wonder what this will lead to in the future. The systems that we have now in place and also the processes that we now have in place is built on the old assumption that a candidate applies or is sourced and then put through a funnel of events. And I wonder if that will work going forward. And I wonder also, what is knowledge about the job in the AI area? Will it look different in different role? Is basic knowledge with great prompting skills the only skills people will need? And once again, these are questions. I don't have a clear answers to them, but I would love to read more thought pieces around novel approaches to hiring when everyone is using AI. From both candidates and organizations. I mean, we're both using AI to a quite large extent, and I would love to read more in-depth pieces around how people are redesigning the whole recruitment funnel around this as well. Because I believe we need to take somewhat of a novel approach or start with almost a blank slate when it comes to utilizing AI to its full extent, both from a candidate perspective, but also from an organizational perspective. Once again, a lot of questions, less answers, but I feel comfortable at least sitting with the questions. I don't know about you, but interesting to ponder about, always interesting to read these kind of studies, and also always interesting to read about use cases. And that's the last thing I want to mention here as well. Because speaking of recruiting and AI, Chipotle, the US company, they used a conversational assistant, Avocado, they call it. And I don't. It's a Mexican restaurant, right? So Avocado. But they built that together with Paradox, which then now got acquired by Workday, and they used it to support their seasonal hiring. They did it in roughly 20,000 frontline jobs or to hire 20,000 frontline jobs. And I mean, the scale of that is insane, but still. But the results are quite striking. Application completion jumped from roughly 50% to 85%, and time to hire dropped from 12 days to just 4. And it's always good to remind ourselves that this is obviously a vendor report to some extent, a PR thing, I assume at least. It's a decent article, but I assume it's influenced by PR. So you need to have that back in mind, but still interesting statistics. And I've seen similar numbers in other areas as well. And this captures something that a lot of HR teams are still missing when they talk about AI in hiring, is my perspective on this. Because I think it's not about replacing recruiters. I think there's a value in having recruiters still. I don't know if that's a strange opinion to have or not, but I still, it's a lot of value, for me at least, to still have recruiters. But it's about removing friction. And we can do that with AI now. We can remove friction. Because every extra click, every long form, every unanswered question drives candidates away. And the Chipotle used AI then to close that gap and to keep the experience human-centric through automation. For me, that's a reminder that conversational tools can be more than a brand gimmick as well. They are becoming quite proficient. They can rebuild candidate journeys, and they can also drive measurable business impact. See the points here about, rethinking and redesigning the recruitment funnel as well. I think that is interesting to ponder about. So that's the articles that I've been reading, that I've been interacting with throughout the week. Is it everything? No, it's not everything, but I need to keep it quite confined as well. There's a lot of other stuff happening as well. And in the article, you'll also find a lot of tools that I've been playing around with. So you can check the article out at Full Stack HR to see the full gist of it. But I want to keep it article-centric, and I want to keep it short and light as well. Hence, here we are today. So that's it for today. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, or if you have any answers to all the questions that I just asked. Love to discuss this more, of course. So if you want to discuss it, ping me. We'll get the conversation started. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one.